Libby here, and I am super excited to be a part of this year's Maid Summit. What am I talking about? I'm talking about hiring. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background about who I am and why I'm talking about hiring. So my name is Libby DeLucien, Libby D for short, because no one can spell my last name. And we're going to talk about hiring. I own a cleaning company as well. We have a couple locations. My primary location is in Fort Myers, Florida. And I have other locations in Oklahoma and Texas. And I also own Woot Recruit, which is a recruiting solution for residential and commercial cleaning. We recruit for hundreds of cleaning companies all over the world and help them find great cleaning technicians. I'm also the owner of Sell Convert Clean, which is a quoting tool for residential cleaning specifically. I'm a mother. I have 3 children. I'm a wife. I'm actually happily married. It took a lot of work to get to the happily married part. And I'm also a CBF senior coach. So I'm very, very in it and even in the trenches when it comes to cleaning. Oh, I forgot. I also volunteer for ISSA Residential on council. So I'm very, very immersed in the cleaning industry, owning a cleaning company and also owning software or tech solutions for the cleaning industry as well. It gives me different perspective versus like, hey, here's this recruiting solution and they made it and it's some corporate CEO in a suit and they have no idea because they've never hired a cleaning technician in their entire life. But typically they're trying to give us advice, or what's worse is we're taking that advice through outside education or content when we see like a great speaker or listening to your Indeed rep, and we take that advice. But my first question would be to everyone is, has that person ever hired a cleaning technician in their life? And typically, no, they haven't. And so that's why my perspective on recruiting in the cleaning industry is different. Mindset around it, it's not typical recruiting. It's not traditional recruiting. It's non-traditional. So we're going to get into it. We're going to cover some normal issues, roadblocks when it comes to hiring. And then we're going to get into 3 top traits that a great cleaning technician embodies. I surveyed over 300 cleaning companies to get this data, this information. We're going to have some great downloads for you guys, some worksheets. If you've ever followed any of my content online, I don't just teach. I try to get it as done for you as possible. What does that mean? Giving you interview questions, giving you a scorecard, giving you the things done. So you're not just taking this idea and then you're like, oh crap, Libby, now I have to go actually do the work. And typically, if you're like me, which is every other business owner, we don't do the work. We have all these other things in line or waiting for our attention. So my goal is always to give it to you as close to done as possible so that you can just focus on implementing. And so we're going to dive in and get started. But if you want to follow me on social media, I just look up Libby DeLucien. I'm the only Libby DeLucien in the world, but I share a lot about the cleaning industry. I share a lot about, being a mom, a working mom, a professional woman, about my marriage. I share like what me and my husband have done when it comes to our marriage to help. Because here's the one thing that I have to tell everyone. This is why I'm so passionate about it and sharing it, is that I can't have a chaotic business and a chaotic home life. And we know all businesses at some point have some chaos, right? It's predictable chaos, but we can't deal with employee issues and IRS issues and payroll issues. And oh my gosh, we damaged somebody's floor issues and then go home and deal with more issues. So I'm really a big advocate on working on your home life and your marriage. Me and my husband do a morning ritual where we call it a morning date, where we have that set time in our life. We call it our microtherapy to work through life and just talk about it. And it's not all about the business, but it helps me as a business owner owning, Woot Recruit, Sell Convert Clean, Organize It, and having a book, which is like my personal brand, 4 different companies, and I haven't lost my sanity, but I would have lost it if I didn't have a great home life and great structure at home working with my husband and my children. So everyone's aligned and on the same page. So that was a long explanation to why you should follow me online. And we're going to cover the interview accelerator, right? Hire smarter in 45 minutes. Before we get started, we'll drop the link in, but pre-order my book. If pre-orders are only 99 cents, if you pre-order my book, it will greatly help me out. My goal is that this little cleaning company owner hits a bestseller list. I want to be a bestseller. I want to change the way the world thinks about cleaning, how they look at us as cleaning company owners or as cleaners, right? I cleaned in the field. I sucked at it. I was not efficient at all. I was like the worst employee ever because I was so slow and I overcleaned everything. But, that's my goal. And One Layer Deep is all about how I run my companies, right? It's an operational efficiency. Also to get very, very clear on the things that we need, what we don't need. And so we call that going one layer deep. One Layer Deep. It's not just the book, but it's a philosophy that I live my life by. And so we'll make sure we drop that link in the chat so you guys can pre-order. And then to top it off, this is my kids' book. And guys, it's all about cleaning. Me and my daughter, we put together a kids' book. And it's called Leading Like an Elephant. If you scan that QR code, you'll get some great downloads, some free coloring pages, the read along. My daughter, Yaya, who's the main character of the book, reads the book aloud so your children can follow along. We'll make sure we drop that link in here. But this book is all about two things. Why cleaning is an important job, and that it is an important job because so many times we get looked down on. And then also, once we're really great at cleaning or any business, how do we scale that business? And so Yaya, through the story, fails as a leader. So the book is called Leading Like an Elephant. And it's all of a story of a cleaning business owner and how she grows and scales her cleaning business. So super cute. If you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, this would be a great gift for anything, Christmas, birthdays, or just because it's a super affordable gift. I think it's only $9.99 on Amazon. But we'll drop that link in. All right, so let's get started with the interview accelerator. We're going to cover proven interview questions that are designed specifically for field labor and frontline. They're designed specifically for cleaning technicians. We're going to cover some ready-to-use scoring spreadsheets that really help you take the emotion out, and we'll make sure we drop these links in there at the end because I want to make sure you pay attention to the whole presentation, the whole workshop. And then we're going to give you an AI prompt to make it your own. What do I mean by that? Well, the scorecard that we're giving you and the questions might need to be slightly adjusted. So the prompt will help you do that because everyone's culture may be just a tiny bit different. And maybe the three main characteristics that myself and 300 other cleaning companies said, maybe one of yours is different, and that's okay. But we're giving you the prompt so you can slightly adjust that. So let's dive right in. And we're going to cover some of the struggles, right? The struggles and why is this a struggle, right? Number one is the urgent need of staff, right? The urgent need for more staff. And how being understaffed doesn't just affect the company and revenue, it affects your current staff. When we're understaffed, we're losing revenue. We're leaving money on the table. There are two types of stress in business when I say it comes to recruiting. You can be understaffed and be leaving money on the table, or you can be overstaffed and having to find a way to fill that schedule. Both are stressful, but you pick your hard, right? You have to pick which one do I want because there's hardly ever, and for the people watching, put in the chat, there's hardly ever a time where it's actually balanced. Like I have the right amount of leads and the right amount of employees and the right amount of customers and everything's just balanced. If you agree, put agree in the chat that it's never balanced. And so we have to choose that hard, right? I agree. It's never balanced. I've had my cleaning company, it's still not balanced. And it's always one of those things where you're kind of spinning all the plates just a little bit at a time. And so choose your hard. Do you want to be understaffed, turning away work? You want to be overstaffed and having to hustle to fill that schedule. Some of the biggest cleaning companies I know stay overstaffed because they know how to market and they grow into that staff. They hit the pavement, they hustle, they fill those schedules, they run flash sales, they do what they got to do, and they grow into it. They break that ceiling, they grow into it versus like, let me wait until I get like 16 recurring customers before I hire someone. Well, who's going to clean the 16 while you're waiting? Like when you have 14 or 15, who, you? No, you can't because you got to grow the company. And so stats say that companies lose about 10 to 25% of revenue when they're understaffed. So another struggle here is the hiring cycle. It is a vicious cycle. And the longer it takes for you to hire someone, the worse it actually gets. And as you see in the cycle, right, it cycles around and it starts there at the top. And then, it's that dire need for more people, right? You get 4 people quit. I don't know about you guys, but it always happens in like groups. So like maybe 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 people quit. And then all of a sudden you're in dire need for more people. And then all of a sudden you start to recruit and you're overwhelmed with applications, right? It's like overwhelming. And then because it takes you so long to manually go through all the applications and set interviews, you're even more understaffed. And then you're hiring out of desperation, right? You're hiring out of desperation, and then we're hiring bad fits. And then because we hired out of desperation, we hired the wrong people and they're leaving or they're quitting during onboarding, during training. And then it starts all over again, right? That's the hiring cycle. Who's been in that one? I just want you to put I in the chat. I for sure 100 have been in that one. And it's okay if you're there. That isn't what we're trying to say. We're trying to say, I want you to observe when you're in it so you can get out of it. We've all heard our mentors say, you got to break that glass ceiling, you got to put pressure, momentum, money, time, spend to break a ceiling. So once we observe, we're in that, we got to break that ceiling. So, empty roles lead to more staff quitting because it leads to burnout, right? And so we're always behind if hiring isn't fast and effective. And so many people want to say, hire slow and fire fast. I would disagree. I would say they say hire slow because they don't have a process. It's not efficient, right? If you have a process and it's scalable, you can hire fast. So I say hire fast, fire faster, and promote fastest. So you want to make sure that your hiring is fast and effective. There's fast and messy. We want fast and effective. Turnover bleeds more turnover. When people leave your business, your current people that are staying there are wondering, man, why is everybody leaving? Maybe they see something I don't. It breeds some doubt. And then from there, we just talked about it, burnout of your current team. If we're understaffed, your existing employees take on the extra work. And it's funny because, when we get customers come in to Woot Recruit, business owners are like, well, my current staff's, they're burnt out and they're working, overtime, and no one can clean for overtime for very long. It will burn your body out. But I'm like, you really think those employees care that that's their problem? That's not their problem. That's your problem. It's your problem that you're understaffed. And I know you don't want to hear that, but it's your problem that you're understaffed. If my company's understaffed, it's my problem. It's not, my employee shouldn't take the brunt of it. Hey, yeah, let's pitch in for a week and all hands on deck and help out. That happens in all my companies, but not when I am consistently understaffed. Not when being understaffed is the norm. It's not my employees' problems. It's my problem. It's the company's problem. And so 25% of cleaning service applicants who quit other cleaning jobs said they quit because they were burned out. 25% of cleaning technicians are quitting because they're burnt out, which then leads to quality issues, complaints, safety risks, and more attrition, more turnover, right, of customers, right? Not even employees. It leads to customer turnover and employee turnover. And then it also can really hurt productivity, and morale plummets. Morale just crashes. So we have to make sure, right? This is why these topics are so included. Application flood. Somebody's like, oh, I get all these applications when I post on Indeed. Great. Well, how long is it taking you to go through all these? Right? So this is a reason why too many applicants isn't helping. It's not helping you. With cleaning, with a lot of frontline labor, we have a low barrier entry. And that's why we're flooded with applications. And that's why most of you need a recruiting solution like Woot Recruit or something similar, because we have a low barrier entry into cleaning. They don't need a certification. They don't need a doctorate or a degree or certain years of experience. It's a very low barrier entry, which then leads to high volume, but lower quality applicants. And so we're flooded. So being flooded with too many isn't really helping us because it's taking up our time. Manual screening creates bottlenecks and fatigue of having to call and schedule and check references and set appointments for the interviews. And manual screening creates a long process, which doesn't make for a great experience if you're the applicant. Stats say that HR managers, the people doing the hiring in your company, spend 23 hours for screening a single role. 23 hours. For all my Woot Recruit customers on the call watching, how much time do you spend screening? None, right? Because Woot Recruit does it all for you. And we just onboarded a new Recruit customer, and she'd hired like 4 people in the first 7 days. She's like, turn it down. I got 4 people. I'm staffed, which is bad on us because we don't cancel. But, you have to really think, if you're paying someone $20 an hour in the office, how much time are they spending vetting applications, looking at Indeed, calling people? And the thing with Indeed, it's like a love-hate relationship, right? We need them. Like, they've monopolized the recruiting industry. But with Indeed, right, how much time are they spending on there? Well, you're going to get a lot of applicants when they apply on Indeed because the applicant doesn't have to fill anything out. It's all preset in their profile, and they can just push like apply. And that's why when we get people to show up to our interview and they don't even know what the name of the company is or what it is, or, hey, well, who are you? That's because they didn't even read anything. They don't have to. And so you need to make sure that you're not overwhelmed by volume, right? Volume doesn't equal right fit. And then the mental weight of hiring, right? Hiring is like a pressure cooker because if you're understaffed, you feel crazy, desperate, and you feel defeated. And then the turnover, the text changing and your training and onboarding, and they're taking your supplies, right? It's this false state that really compounds the stress, and you literally think you're losing your mind. And your emotions and your physical health suffer that. So you need to make sure you step back and examine everything. Examine the data, the patterns, the root causes of why people are leaving. Why are people leaving your company? Like, that's a whole nother talk. I'm talking about, right, the hiring side. But if you can't keep them and they're going right out the back door, you're going to look at that. Why are people leaving? And we do these, and they're called post-mortem calls. Typically, when an employee leaves, they're not going to tell you when they leave the truth. But if you try to reconnect with them later, you're more likely to get the real answer of why they left. And then unqualified applicants, right? This is the iceberg. And this is something I want you guys to look at. So many people think that they only see the seam. I have too many unqualified applicants. Oh, everybody sucks. Nobody wants to work, Libby. But that's the seen, that's the visible. That's the superficial thing that we're seeing. But let's look at the unseen. So why are you attracting people that seem unqualified to you? Well, examine your company's social responsibility. Examine your company's core values and culture. Like, not words on a piece of paper or on your wall. I mean, what is the actual culture? Because so many people, like, yes, your office is pretty, you have it on the wall, but do you really care? Like, do you really have good culture? So examine those values in that culture. Examine your pay and your benefits. Examine your company appeal. Is your company sexy, or does it look like every other cleaning company in the world with the same stock pictures on the Facebook and on the website? Ask yourself, is there opportunity for growth in your company? Not like career cleaners. Believe me, it'd be great to find some career cleaners, but I think COVID really changed that in a lot of people. And yeah, there are those diamonds in the rough, but for the majority, most people don't want to be a cleaning person their entire life. It is a part of the journey that they're going through. So do you have an opportunity for growth in that? And then do you genuinely care? You got to ask yourself, do we genuinely care? And if you do, it comes through in the way you treat people and the way the universe pays you back. I'm a very big fan of manifesting. We can go off the deep end with this one. But if you're saying that everybody sucks and nobody wants to work, don't you maybe think that's what you're going to get in return? Like, just think about it. It's manifestation. It's no different than all of our mentors saying, write down your goals, read your goals, think positive thoughts. Well, if you're saying that about your recruiting or about your employees or potential employees, I mean, that's what the world's going to give you. And then your brand, right? Perception will shape the quality of applicants that you get. Is your brand sexy? Is it attracting the right people, or is it attracting wrong people? So in Organize It, our brand colors are orange and black. We're known for our black and white pictures. We're very edgy as a cleaning company. We're very family focused. We're not super like team meetings and Valentine presents, but we're very independent and very edgy. And that's who I attract, because that's my website. That's my social media. That's who I am. That's how I talk. And our tagline is even that we're the most organized cleaning company in the world. I have plans to take over the world. Stay tuned on that. But, is your brand edgy? Who are you attracting? Or are you attracting the people that show up in their pajamas and house shoes? I think in our industry, we have a bad rap because most cleaning companies are unprofessional. I mean, I was when I started. I cleaned, I didn't know what I was doing. And so most cleaning companies are somewhat unprofessional. And so for us to really attract good quality applicants, as my 17-year-old said, try hard. He's like, Mom, you're a try hard. I'm like, what does that even mean? It means, I'm trying too hard or extra hard to show off or prove a point. And I think we need to be a try hard in cleaning. If you really want to differentiate yourself from your competitors locally, you want to attract great quality applicants, you need to be a try hard, because our industry has this stigma around it, right? That we can show up in house shoes, that we can bring our kid to the job or our boyfriend. We need to make sure that we're really projecting that professionalism through the way we talk, our social media, our websites, everything about us. Culture and growth, right? Genuine care. This is something we need to look at. Build a company people want to join, right? Define your core values. Everybody talks about core values. The greatest books in the world start with core values. I always dismiss them. And then now I know it's what runs the company. Create career paths, not jobs. Create a career path, not a job. Genuine care. Don't be fake, man. Someone messaged me the other day and they said, Libby, can I just say, man, don't be stupid and just do it? I said, well, is that your culture? I mean, literally in my job applications, the cleaning technicians aren't working directly with me, but anyone else like office or Woot Recruit staff, Organize It office staff, any of them, like when I'm hiring a new assistant, I just got a new personal assistant. And in the interview, it's like, you have to be comfortable with F-bombs every once in a while, like to show emotion through my words. Don't be fake. And so I'm not fake. That's me. And that's we attract people that are okay with it. Like, that are like, oh yeah, shit. I'm sorry. Maybe I can't cuss. That's fine. And somebody said that in the interview. It's like, oh, he's hired. He cussed in the interview. And not that they have a foul mouth, but it's like, be genuine in your process. Be genuine in your ad. Be genuine in your interview, right? Not just be genuine as in sweet and nice and caring. Be genuine in the hiring process, in the ad, in your careers page, during the interview process. And applicants will check your Google reviews. They will check your social media reviews. Attracting the wrong candidates, right? Bad hires hurt twice. They hurt twice. Why? Because it's like, we call it double entry, right? Bad hires calls double entry. You have to babysit them. You got to do your job and their job, right? It's babysitting. It hurts morale, productivity, and all over performance. It hurts your staff and your customers, right? It hurts twice. And then it causes double entry. And then losing candidates to competitors. If your hiring process is slow and you're doing it manually, you need to examine that. Now, I am a huge fan of AI and tech and automations, but I'm also a huge fan of keeping things human. So use your AI, tech, and automations to create speed, but don't take the human out of human. And so 58% of offers are rejected because of a poor experience during hiring or interviewing, right? During the application and interview process. 58% of people are rejecting it. And 80% accept an offer because of a positive experience, right? So if you're turning off your ads too soon, that's a huge mistake because you don't know who's going to accept your offer, who's going to deny the offer. And so we need to always be recruiting for that reason. Hidden causes of the offer rejection, right? It's not just the paycheck. It is the job design. It's the growth. It's the leadership. It's the job role. It's not just the pay, but it's, do you have anything to offer this person? And then recruitment sabotage. So many people, when we hire someone, they don't make it through training. The first thing they say is, oh, my training's broken. Oh, it's my training. It's superficial, right? You're saying, oh, it's bad training. I need new training. My new hire failed. They didn't make it through training. When in fact, right, it could be a misalignment in values, bad culture fit, or rushed hire. 90% of us forget what we learned within the first year of working somewhere, of training. 90% of people forget. There's one thing I want to share with you, and I want you to remember this, and I want you to think back to all your cleaning technicians. A great hire will train themselves. A great hire will train themselves. You know how many times I've had great technicians? I didn't even have training. Now we have training, and you're like, oh, the training's broken. They didn't make it through, or they have quality issues, or like they're not a good fit. And we're like, oh, it's the training. It's the training. I need more training. A great hire will train themselves. Time to hire. Delay equals decline. Delaying a hire can cost you some great talent in your business and really hurt your business. You want to make sure there's not any operational inefficiency, because then that operational inefficiency when it comes to hiring plus staff burnout will cause that pressure cooker feeling. So you want to make sure that your time to hire is fast. And then lastly, we're going to jump into the traits is early dropout or expectation gaps. So if they leave fast, you need to look back at the interview. What was mismatched? Culture and adaptability matters more than technical skill. We can teach anyone to clean, but we can't change who they are, their values and their culture, or if they're adaptable. And so let's jump right in then. The top 9 traits, and then we're gonna go to the 3, that make a great cleaning technician are positive attitude, reliable communication, consistency, right? They're consistent, they're honest, they're friendly, they're flexible, and they have attention to detail. So the top 3, just think of it as a triangle, right? And in the middle of this, we call this quiet confidence. When people are really great at interviewing, it's because they're really great at interviewing. Maybe they've done it a few times. But think back to your really great technicians. They have this quiet confidence about them. And so the top 3 in this is positive attitude that makes up your quiet confidence training, reliability, and good communication. So what does that look like? And so we're going to give you the 3 key traits for the interview. We're going to give you the actual questions for the 3 key traits for the interview process and what that looks like and the questions to ask. So some examples are what to look for in body language. Are they sitting with their arms closed, right? Is their posture? Can they make eye contact, right? What to look for, body language, like I enjoy, I like to help are great things to look for. Questions to ask in the interview. And then red flags. So we did this for each one of the 3 traits. You have what to look for, interview questions, and red flags. Red flags are huge because typically we want like the bubbly, like, oh my gosh, the cheerleader, someone that can talk to my customers. And I'm like, I don't want no one to talk to my customers. If they can talk to my customers are either going to ask them to do something for free, clean something for free, carry a mattress up 3 flights of stairs, or overly chat with them, or my cleaning technician might take those customers if they get too chummy. And so it's called that quiet confidence again. And then under reliability, what to look for, right? Are they punctual to the interview? Some of these might be hard to see in the interview process itself, but you can see most of this, right? Were they consistent in their past job? Do they take ownership of being dependable? You can ask this through the questions because you're like, Libby, how do I see this in an interview? Well, we gave you the 3 questions to ask. And then the red flags, right? Multiple job hops without explanation. Now, I am not a fan of resumes because I can put that I have a PhD, on a resume, and who's going to argue that? So I'm not super fan of resumes, but ask them if they job hopped. Why? Just like a why. Like maybe they had a crummy boss. Like maybe pay sucked. Maybe like they had a disrespectful coworker. And so just taking a look at those things really help when it comes to the interview process itself. So we talked about positive attitude, we know is one for sure. And we'll give you those interview questions. Reliability. Again, do they minimize the importance of being on time, right? Do they show up late or unprepared to an interview? That's how you tell if they're reliable. And then good communication, right, is the third one. And we'll give you the Google Doc, so don't worry. Some great questions for good communication is, if a customer asks you to do something outside the scope of work, of cleaning, how do you handle that? And then again, we're giving you the prompt so that you can make these your own in case you need. And so we're giving you the prompt, and so that you can take the scoring. So this is the score sheet. This is how you're going to score your interview. The prompt is on the left-hand side so that you can create your own version of these. And then if you need help or want to find out something more about Woot Recruit, you can actually just click the little green button or section where it says, I need to hire like yesterday, because it's so funny, right? It's so funny. Many of us, when a customer calls us like, they need a cleaning same day. And you go in, the house is like a freaking disaster. And you're like, they didn't know this was dirty like 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago. Same thing with recruiting. You need to always be recruiting. When you're understaffed, you were understaffed a long time ago. And so we need to be observant. We're like that lady who calls last minute and we're like, oh my God, you had plenty of time leading up to this to get a house cleaning and you needed it by the end of today. It's the same thing with like, I needed to hire yesterday. In reality, it probably started weeks ago. And if you're not always recruiting, you're in this vicious cycle of a deficit, because when someone quits, it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to get someone up and running. You got to post that ad. You got to do interviews. Well, you got to schedule interviews. You got to do interviews. Then you got to interview multiple, and then you got to onboard and train and get them up to speed. And so by the time you're understaffed, you're in a deficit. You're behind the 8 ball. And so we need to always be recruiting to make sure that we're always building on that bench, right? I have another presentation called The Bench, which is phenomenal. And so we have a Woot Recruit special for you guys. So anyone listening to this Maid Summit, my special offer for you guys, if you're a past customer or you want to start Woot Recruit, we had a 75% off the setup fee special running, but only for people listening now, I'm giving you a 0 setup. So I'm giving you 100% off the setup. And like, what do you got to lose? I have no contract, because the last contract I signed was Angie's List. And how many of us have signed a horrible Angie's List contract? Put I in the chat. Never again. And I feel like vendors take advantage of us in the cleaning industry so much. And so we don't have contracts. I'm waiving your setup fee. This is my gift to you guys so that you guys can get ahead. You can see what Woot Recruit does, how we work, and how we can save you time. Whether you're a cleaner in the field, we can help you. I mean, I started it as a cleaner in the field. We have customers that were cleaners in the field, and now they're sitting in the office running a $1 million cleaning company. When they came to Woot Recruit, they were a cleaner in the field and they couldn't get out. So it doesn't matter if you're a cleaner in the field or you're a $5 million cleaning company, we can help you. And so that is my gift to you guys, is a 0 setup. Typically it's $1,000. And then we have a couple bonuses real quick for you guys as well. So we have our hiring an HR manager, and how do we make these HR managers efficient? How can we get the most out of them? Or are they spending 23 hours vetting applications for nobody to show up? And so that's not the best use of your money. And typically hiring managers, are at least $20 an hour, right? And if you're doing it the old fashioned way, it's way, way too slow. We have some Canva swipe files that you guys can have. They're just some internal and external social media, hiring ads, internal employee things. So it's all about employees. Canva graphics, it was brought to you by my son. He does all of our social media and he's a giver. He likes to give stuff. And then I'm going to give you my red flag document. So I made a red flag document. I currently just went through some really bad experiences in Organize It and Woot Recruit on some really long-term employees that left. And when they left, it was horrible, like horrible leaving. And I'm like, man, when did this go off the rails? I'm like, when did this happen? And so I sat down one day and I worked through all the red flags that we saw and that I choose not to see and that I see now going back. So we have that free Canva graphic for you guys, swipe file. And then again, the HR manager, how much more valuable could your HR manager be? I just want to end with a quote with you guys. It was great to have you here. I love our cleaning industry. And, I'm new to it. I always say like there's old money and new money, right? And when in wealthy families or, people that have money, I said, there's old cleaning and I'm new cleaning. I said, I'm new cleaning. I'm pretty new to it. I'm about 7 years in cleaning. So many people have so much more knowledge and experience than I do. And I'm fairly new-ish to the industry. So I'm super grateful that you guys got to spend some time with me. We'll make sure we have all those links to you. And if not, just hook me up on social media, private message me, DM me, and I'll make sure I get those links to you if you maybe missed it or you're watching this and you can't see the chat. But I want to end, right? Quiet confidence. It's what we talked about. It's what makes up a great cleaning technician. Quiet confidence. Confidence is silent and insecurities are loud.